playoffs. It has been a very interesting year, to say the least. I'm thrilled to have spent it with the three of you and to everyone at home.
That's nice, Jen.
And with that, we are going to kick off our last show of the year in a big way. We got a big weekend of football to discuss. We'll start this morning in the NFL with some playoff questions heading into Week 17. Were you looking for something more profound? Not in Week 17. They got to dot the I's and cross the T's. We know the Steelers will sit Big Ben on Sunday. Now we're hearing the Chiefs have the same plan for Patrick Mahomes. They're going to rest him for their season finale against the Chargers. But Jenna, why not rest him? Chiefs have everything clinched. Glad you asked. There's still a few unchecked items, which is where our guy Nick comes in. Nick, is it a good idea or a bad idea for the Kansas City Chiefs to sit your guy Patrick Mahomes with the playoff bye already locked up?
It's probably the right decision, but I'm not sure I like it. And that is for selfish and selfless reasons. Selfish reasons is, listen, if you watch this show a lot, you've learned a few things about a lot of us. But one of the things you've learned about me is I may or may not have a slightly crippling gambling problem. And I've got bets on Mahomes to win MVP. That could go out the window. I have 7-1 on Travis Kelce to lead the league in receiving yards. Wave goodbye to that. And a bet, I've already spent the money. I've spent the money on Patrick Mahomes leading the league in passing yards. That was locked up. But if he doesn't play, all of a sudden Deshaun Watson could take it from him. So for my personal perspective, I don't love it. But bigger than that, here's my actual concern. It's not that the Chiefs haven't been playing well as of late, because I think that is way overblown. They played the Dolphins, who have a top-5 defense. They scored 33 points. They then played the Saints, who have a top-5 defense. They scored 32 points. They then played the Falcons in a totally meaningless game, and the Chiefs' defense was outstanding while the offense wasn't great. I'm not worried about how the Chiefs have been playing. I am worried about too much rust. And I am worried about a team that has lost one game in the last 14 months, all of a sudden going a month between meaningful games and going 2+ weeks between actually playing with giving yourselves a bye and then having earned the bye. So it's not about, the Chiefs need to get into gear, because I think that storyline is wildly overrated. It's about, if the last time you really locked in was the Saints game in Week 15, and then Week 16 you had everything clinched, Week 17 you rest everyone, wild card weekend you have a bye, and now all of a sudden, Brandon, you're playing either the Ravens or the Browns or the Titans or whomever you're going to be playing in round 2, a team that would be coming off a playoff victory. That does concern me a bit. I understand trying to avoid the injury, but I think the rust thing, Brandon, could be a real factor here.
Yeah, Nick, look, there's a few things here that we need to talk about. I think it's a good idea, first and foremost. And the reason why, these guys have been running high since the Super Bowl. You got to think about what you just said, Jenna. 2020 been an interesting year. No, it's been a tough year for probably 99% of the people in the world. So when you think about this, the physical and the mental toll that's been on a lot of us throughout this year, and then all these athletes as well, going into a billion-dollar business. They're multi-million-dollar athletes, and every day they're being criticized and critiqued and judged. They don't walk into these facilities and these coaches are saying, hey, guys, great job. No, 90% of the time they're like, hey, wide receiver, you're a yard off. You're an inch off the mark. You got to be better. Patrick Mahomes, you see that right foot? If you do this a little differently, the ball will come out a little better. So it's a high-pressured environment. So I would say for the Kansas City Chiefs, this is the perfect thing for them. Now you're giving Patrick Mahomes, the most deadliest quarterback, the most deadliest player in the NFL, a time to just relax and take a deep breath. I think this is a really good thing for them. And, Nick, I feel so bad for you. Man, you put all that money on the line to the MVP. Man,
I don't want to talk about
Travis Kelce. That's brutal.
They were all good bets.
But buddy,
I
hopefully you parlayed the bet I hope you parlayed the bet about them going back-to-back because they have the best opportunity to do the ultimate thing, and that's win a back-to-back Super Bowl. So
That
the
is
MVP,
They win
it
the
may
Super
be
Bowl,
out
it'll
there,
make up the
but
money.
Kevin...
That's a good point.
Correct. So I think this is a good thing. And Kevin, look, Patrick Mahomes may still win the MVP because Aaron Rodgers is going into Chicago, and it's not going to be an easy job for him. I'll tell you that, buddy.
I'm still giving Patrick Mahomes my MVP vote. Now, you might say, Wilds, you don't have an MVP vote. All right, details. Look, Nick, this is why I don't think you should be worried. Patrick Mahomes knows his body better than everybody else. He knows the strategy of how to move through the playoffs. The only thing he doesn't know is, like, there's no such thing as the Patrick Price. Everybody gets the same State Farm deal no matter who you are. And at some point, Jake, if Patrick Mahomes doesn't get it and Aaron Rodgers doesn't get it, maybe it's on you. Maybe it's your messaging. But here's the thing Patrick Mahomes does know. He hasn't been playing great, Nick. So the first 12 weeks of the season, killing it. You're up here puffing your chest out, being awesome. These last weeks, I mean, you can say that, like, it's overblown, but we know that he's a safety away from that Saints game, or a touchdown that turned into a safety, of being much closer. The A.J. Terrell interception drop, you could have lost that game. So this is a little bit concerning to me, and I assume he knows this. He's like, you know what? If he felt like he needed to shake some rust off and play, he would have. But I don't think he does. But this is a little bit concerning to me, as I think it should be to you.
Well, I will admit, and I think it's obvious, he has not been as sharp the last few weeks. You saw it with the 3 picks in the Dolphins game, which was more picks than he had in the whole season up to that point. And the A.J. Terrell play, you're right. It would have been a hell of an interception, but it was an interceptable ball. What does give me some solace in Andy Reid's decision to rest Mahomes, Jenna, is that I think Mahomes knew it going into the Falcons game. And he clearly wanted the rest. Because if you watched his reaction when the Falcons missed that field goal and the Chiefs won, it wasn't just the reaction of, oh, we're not going to overtime. I think it was, okay, our regular season is complete now. I think he went into that game knowing, if we win this game, I'm not going to have to play Week 17. And if his #1 goal was to get to the playoffs healthy, then he did accomplish that by winning that Falcons game, which, by the way, after the A.J. Terrell near pick, there was not a near touchdown, but an actual touchdown, a game-winning pass, 30 yards out to win the game by the guy who should be the MVP. That actually is how that game is.
All right, so what do we know here? We know Nick has lost money, especially if Mahomes doesn't go with 17. And we know the Chiefs are still the favorites to win the Super Bowl once again. But the Chiefs are followed by the Packers, the Saints, the Bills, the Bucks, and the Seahawks. Brandon, quickly here, who you picking to win it all, Chiefs or the field?
Yeah, well, you guys know I picked the Seattle Seahawks to come out the NFC, the Pittsburgh Steelers to come out the AFC. But right now, okay, I got to go with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a better team this year, Jenna, than they were last year. And the reason why is because they find other ways to win. It's not all on Patrick Mahomes and his arm. They're winning on defense. They're winning on special teams. They're winning with coaches. They're winning with the running game. So I picked the Chiefs over the field, but it's going to be interesting. Don't forget about those Buffalo Bills.
So 2 very quick points. One is, Brandon's been very good about owning up to his preseason Super Bowl pick. I've been very good about owning up to half of my preseason Super Bowl pick. I had the Chiefs winning it over the Dallas Cowboys, which, by the way, all of a sudden, that take's still alive. All of a sudden, the Cowboys take back from the dead. Like it could, an old zombie take, it's back. And I should have never abandoned it. Cowboys still alive going to Week 17.
No, it's over. It's done.
I've got Jenna. I will take the Chiefs over the field. And speaking of parlays, I will parlay that with, if we do get a Chiefs-Bills AFC Championship game, my old buddy Brandon Marshall might come on this show and say, you know what? I know I said the Chiefs, but I think the Bills are going to beat them. I think if the Bills win back-to-back playoff games,